Welcome to Career Tools. This week, how not to accept an offer. Chapter 1, you can't play two offers against one another. Here we go. Okay, Wendy, we're talking here about how not to accept an offer. Why do we even have to discuss this? Manager Tools, Career Tools, we're not famous for telling people what not to do.
Not to do. No, true. But we have told people how to accept an offer and how to decline an offer. And then we still get questions where people are looking for loopholes. And so we wrote this series of casts to close all those loopholes and just make really obvious and really transparent exactly what we meant.
And why we meant it. And part of the idea here is, I know sometimes people think we go a little long. And the reason for that is there are 1,000 million permutations and combinations of all these things. And managers and companies and so on don't know what they're doing as well as they should, as many of us know. So therefore, they don't do it according to what we think they ought to do it. They don't give behavioral interviews. They don't make offers the way they should. They're confusing. They talk about verbal and written offers and the fact that they're different when in fact really they're not. So we want to explain the why. So if you get a subtle variation on this, you'll understand the underlying rationale and you're able to make an adjustment.
Exactly.
Okay? Good. Okay. So this cast is about not playing two offers off against one another. Take a minute and explain to people how that question comes to us, and then let's walk through all the permutations of it.
Okay, so people ask us when they have either interviewed with the company and that company has given them an offer, but they've got another interview coming up, or they've already had an interview with a second company and they're expecting an offer from that company, and they want to somehow affect the timing or have those two offers in play at the same time so that they can compare between them, and they want us to tell them how to do that.
Right.
And the answer is usually you can't, but we'll get to that when we get to chapter one of the others. Or they do actually have two offers against two offers, and they want to say to their preferential company, I have another offer for more money, but I prefer you. Please, can I have more? I'll come to you if I can have more money. Or they get an offer and they want to use that with their current boss in order to get more money. Usually it's about more money. Sometimes it's about a better job or a better job title or different benefits, but invariably, 90% of the time we're asked, it's about more money.
And some people aren't even assertive enough to suggest that they think they're being coy by saying, well, look, I've got another offer. They don't even suggest it's really about money. They're implying I'm in demand, and so therefore you should assure yourself of getting me by upping your offer without actually saying that. And I think they think they're not being crass by asking for more money, but in fact, the implication is as crass as a direct ask for money anyway. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's take the example of somebody who has got an offer from, let's call it company B, which is a solid company. They could see themselves going to work for them, and yet they are in the process with company A, right? And they come to us and they say, what do I do to speed up A and slow down B?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So why do we tell them no?
Well, the simple answer and the very blunt answer is the essence of one of the Horseman's laws, which is you're not that smart and they're not that stupid. Unfortunately, we write these casts for 80%, the 80% in the middle of people that are in big companies, small companies, or individual contributors, or their first line or second line managers. And I hate to tell you this, but your average, there are hundreds of people who could do your job. When you come to us and you're looking for a job and you say, I can't find a job, there aren't any jobs out there, there's 100 applicants for every job, that isn't actually true, but the opposite also tells you that you're not that special. Right. They are able to find hundreds of people to interview for their jobs. And so your thought that you're special and that you will be able to negotiate and that your negotiation skills are good enough to be able to influence this process, I'm sorry, it's just not true.
Yeah. Even if you believe it to be true, there's ample evidence that would cause you to rethink that. I would say it a little differently than you would. I think there are plenty of people who are listening who would say, I'm not average. And I think what you mean is you're not truly as exceptional as the behaviors you want to engage in would suggest that you are. It's not that everybody who's listening is average. 80%, there's not a bunch of 80% of the people in the middle who are average. No. But the fact is what people behave as if I'm in the top 5% and you should go after me as if I'm the top 5%. And folks, to be clear, neither are Wendy and I for a lot of jobs that we would apply for. Neither is Mike in terms of being in the top 5% of a particular job. It depends on your fit for you and the fit for the actual job. The other thing I find interesting, Wendy, is that even people who are quite good at negotiating, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, people really aren't negotiating when, to use your point from earlier, they ask for more money. You're not negotiating with a company. If you and I are opposite a negotiating table, when we're negotiating, we're each asking for more from the other. There's a give and take involved. If you give here, I'll give there, or, we can do this level of service if you'll agree to pay more, or I can tolerate that level of service for this level of price, or what have you. There's a give and take. That's negotiation. It's not simply a demand. I know very few people, except the top of organizations, who are willing to change the way the job is structured or their role or something in return for more millions in an employment contract. Very few people ever actually negotiate. What they're saying is, I want more money. You can't negotiate. You can't say, well, I'll give you more. Then the company would say, so in other words, you were holding back 10% of your abilities in your previous interviews. We decided to make you an offer, and now you're going to tell us you have a sixth gear. It's not negotiating. And people say, I want to be able to negotiate. And I say, no, you really don't. What you want is more money. And unfortunately, as we talk all the time, anytime you go after more money, you run the risk of taking goodwill off the table. Now, many of you listening will say, I don't agree with Mark. I think Wendy's nuts. Okay, fine. If you want to go negotiate, that's fine. But you're never going to hear from Manager Tools or Career Tools how to negotiate. We don't believe that it's an effective technique for the vast majority of people, the tens of thousands of people that Wendy and I and Mike have coached and interviewed and hired and fired and so on. We don't see it as being an effective technique. Okay. And what you're saying is this issue of company B and company A is almost a form of negotiation, right? I want to slow this company down. I want to speed this company up. So let's get into the specifics. Company B is giving you an offer. Company A says, yeah, we're going as fast as we can. And the person says, how can I speed one up and the other one down? What do we say to them?
You can't. What they want to do is call company B and say, hey, I've got an offer already from this company. I would really like to see your offer. I really
wait, go back. Wendy, go back. I'm sorry. You said they have an offer from company B. They're calling company B. So to be clear,
yeah.
They have an offer from company B already, and company A is the company that is their favorite. So you're saying they're going to call company A, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry. I just confused.
No, that's okay. No. We got it. So company B's already made me an offer, and I call Wendy, my buddy, and say at Career Tools, and say, Wendy, tell me how to call company A.
What they want to do is call company A and say, I already have this offer from company B, but I really preferred you. I liked you as a hiring manager. I prefer your company for X, Y, or Z reasons. Can you get me the offer so that I can
right.
Accept you guys, because otherwise I'm going to have to accept company B. And the answer I give people is, you can't do that. I mean, you can, but it's not going to work. I have never seen it work.
Never. I've never seen it work.
I've recruited for jobs that reported to the board of a $13 billion a year company.
Right.
And even those people have tried it and it doesn't work. And if you're reporting to the board of that kind of company, you're pretty special. And it just doesn't work.
The way I've always said it to people is one individual is not interesting or important enough to any firm for them to fundamentally modify the process that they have to go through. And on the individual side, even if you're a hiring manager, you've been a hiring manager somewhere else, on the individual side, you don't understand all the things that have to happen in the process. And, maybe the person who needs to sign off is on vacation. And we're not going to call that person back from vacation to sign documents or to do a 15-minute double-check interview with you because they only get 2 weeks of vacation a year, or they're with their family in the Canary Islands or whatever it might be. We're not going to call them in just to do that, and you're going to have to wait a few more days. And frankly, because you're one of hundreds of people that we think we ought to hire, even if we think you're special, what you're telling us is you might want to take company B. I mean, you clearly haven't turned them down. So apparently you're not willing to totally fall on your sword for us. If you really wanted us, you'd let B go.
Exactly.
And that's the mistake people make.
What you're asking for is not actually you're not telling us you'll accept that offer if we speed up the paperwork and get it to you. All you're saying is, I want to have both of them so I can compare them.
Yeah.
To which as a hiring manager, my reaction would be, well, that doesn't serve my interest.
Right.
So
why should I
go away?
Why should I speed up so you compare apples to apples? Because I have other people who are very interested that might in fact be better than you. The other thing I often feel like is, I did this once. I said to somebody, well, okay, does company B know that you're calling me on this? Well, of course not. Well, why not? I mean, if you're really interested in them, you're so interested in them that you're implying to me that they're close enough that you want to keep that offer rather than let it go. That's the implication. You want to keep your offer at company B and you want to compare because you want to reduce your own risk. You want us to change the way we do things to reduce your risk. You're implying that A and B are not that far apart. We're not that much better. Then what are you telling company B? Oh, well, I'm not going to tell them that. They don't have to know that. So in other words, we're all independent actors here. You want us to operate independently from one another, and yet you want to play us off against one another. And I would say no. And frankly, the reason why the candidate doesn't want to say that is because if you call company B and said, look, I want you to know there's a company that outranks you, and I want to see if I can get an offer from them. Company B would say, you know what, you don't have until Friday anymore. You have until Wednesday because we think we're going to lose you. And frankly, even if we give you until Friday and you accept at the last minute, it's because you didn't get company A. We know you're not choosing us for the right reasons. You're just taking any port in a storm. You need a job. And we don't want you to do that. We want you to do it because you love to come to work here. Because I promise you, there's somebody almost as good as you who thinks we're the greatest thing since sliced bread. And we want that person.
Attitude over skills every day.
We'll take 90% less skills for 10% more attitude every day of the week. Yeah. So folks, what Wendy and I are telling you is don't call company A and try to get them to speed up. First of all, they won't do it. You're going to be embarrassed if they say, does company B know you're doing this? And no, but Wendy, let's go to the other side of the coin. Would we recommend, surely everybody can guess what the answer is, would we recommend calling company B? If you don't think you can influence company A and say, I'd like more time, without saying company A is in the running.
I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, you can, and it depends on I guess there's some subtlety there, but I don't recommend it to my friends. It's not that hard. Either the offer is what you want or it's not what you want. It's a black and white question if you consider it in isolation.
Right. But the way I would say that is not it's what they want or doesn't want, because then somebody would say, well, what I want is company A. In isolation, the question is the offer something you would take or not take?
Yeah.
And in my mind, that makes it really simple. It is black and white. And then people would say, well, there might be something better. Well, yeah, you could be ruler of the world too, or you could be CEO of your own company. There's 1,000 other opportunities, and they could offer you more money and this and that and the other thing. But a job offer is not completely fluid, completely flexible, and unlimited in time and space. It is a specific thing at a specific time, and you're going to have to make a decision rather than saying, well, it's not as good as this or not as good as that. Yeah, the moment you move into a house that you always wanted to move into, there's a house within 100 meters of you that's better, that you might want more. But that doesn't mean you're not completely happy in the house you're in now. If you believe that you take company B and you miss company A, and for the rest of your life you're going to be disappointed in company A, that you're not at company A, my thought is you're going to be disappointed no matter what job you take. The moment you take A, you're going to be disappointed because there's always going to be something better. The choice is what you have at the time, which is I have an offer from company B. Do I want to risk it? And I always tell people, if you're not willing to risk losing B to go to A, you don't want A bad enough. And therefore, you ought to be taking B. So you did say I could. Okay. So here's the way I've put that to my friends. I've said, if they give you a deadline, if it's Thursday and they say they want an answer in 24 hours, and you think there's a 1 in 100 chance that if you had until Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, company A might say yes, then I would say there's nothing wrong with saying, boy, it's 24 hours. I'd like to talk to my spouse, or I want a weekend. I'm working tomorrow. I've got a full plate tomorrow at work. I want to delay over the weekend. Most companies will give you over a weekend. In fact, as a general rule, if a company gives you a deadline that doesn't include a weekend, it's not impolite. It's not considered rude. Some companies may, wow, why do you want more time? But it is completely